Now let's move on to the immigration chaos. With no clear plan on how to reunite the families that they separated at the border, the U.S. Justice Department tried to argue in court that they should be able to keep immigrant children detained for even longer periods of time, a claim that the judge, thankfully, didn't buy into. You know, this story, you know, when I saw this story, you know what the first thing I thought about? I thought about the travel ban. Now, let me set this up just a little bit. The travel ban, everybody said there's no way it was going to succeed. You and I did shows on it. You and I talked about the reason it would succeed. This is a similar analysis. Take it from there.
Right. What we have right now is the administration, no administration can keep a child separated from their parents in detainment for more than 20 days.
Right.
Well, as it turns out, that's actually based on a previous California court case, Flores v. Reno. So if they file some kind of emergency injunction, get the emergency hearing from the courts, and appeal this thing fast enough, what they're going to do is get the Supreme Court, which is completely right-wing at this point, and they're going to rule and say, no, the Flores decision, Flores agreement no longer holds. You know, this is an emergency power, police power, because we have a crisis and we have to deal with it, which is what they did with the Muslim ban, basically.
Well, okay, let me tease that out just a little bit. I remember when the ban, the travel ban came about. You had lawyers working for big networks who knew better. They absolutely knew better than to speak these words. And they spoke the words, there's no way that this will stand up. I actually heard them say it. And as I was listening to it, I was going, well, you maybe never took a constitutional law class, which seemed incredible to me that I would hear that kind of discussion coming. But the constitutional law aspect of this says that we give to the president on executive order kind of status, we give him very broad police powers. Now, what was the rationale on the ban? The rationale on the ban was we believed that it affected health, safety, welfare kind of issues. That's what the test is all the time. The test on this judge may have ruled we're not going to allow this, but if it's tested, the judge is going to be overruled. Because unless the court just gets so political and says, gee whiz, you know, we have to do this because it's not the right thing to do. That always makes bad law. You and I might agree with what the judge did. We do agree with that. But if we're really analyzing where this is going, it's a dead end.
Absolutely. You know, this judge, Dolly G., she did the right thing.
Yeah.
You know, we have a real humanitarian crisis here in the United States. The United Nations has condemned it as massive human rights violation. The administration, DOJ, they have no idea how to reunite any of these families. Not most, but some of them actually, they've already been sent to orphanages.
Right.
Their parents were deported. They didn't realize it, so they've sent them off to orphanages. They're gone. They're out of the system. Hopefully somebody adopts them at this point. And what they're trying to do is buy a little bit more time. And a judge actually said recently that, you know, you missed your deadline. And somebody, you know, had asked me, well, what does that mean? What kind of punishment? I said, there's not going to be a punishment because they can prove, even though it's not good faith effort, they can show that they've attempted a good faith effort to meet the deadline.
That's the hoop they have to jump through.
Right.
We've tried to do this. We can't do it. And oh, by the way, this is a health, safety, and welfare issue. Look, all you got to do is go back, way back, look at the Japanese internment camp kind of rationale. Now think of how extreme that is. It was a time of war. You know, Pearl Harbor had been bombed. But if you look at the rationale says we're going to give broad powers both to Congress and the White House where it comes to making decisions. This is an executive order decision. You're going to see that the way they justify it is we're concerned about health, safety, and welfare. They're going to land there some way. They may not use those exact words, but that's where they're going to land on this discussion.